Boom! We are live and in living color. Happy day, everybody. I've got it's Nick, of course, and Miss Swedish Fish, and we have an amazing guest today, Mr. Matt Brown from OneTechnology. How you doing,
Miss Swedish Fish, Nick, thanks for having me. Amazing's a stretch, but I'll take it.
You guys might know Matt. He's if you've not had a burrito with this guy, you should. He is yeah.
We should have ordered burritos with this session.
Oh, waste, yes. I don't need a second burrito today. I promise I've already had one.
Of course.
But Matt, thanks. We're obviously you're known by some as the captain of the IT pirate ship. So maybe give us 30 seconds on just OneTech and who you are.
Yeah, so OneTech is a enterprise technology partner. We're out of the Colorado area, although we've got kind of a national reach. We do a bunch of work with federal agencies, with state, local education, commercial enterprise, et cetera, all around, best of breed technology and the services to support them.
Awesome. And I know personally, obviously we know each other, and then just seeing all the stuff you do with your company, you're very much a culture-driven guy and company and very focused on people, which we, from a Relaxis perspective, obviously appreciate that as well.
Nick, we do not own any intellectual property. We are in the people business. We get that we're in the people business. We don't own any code. So we have to keep everybody happy.
Awesome. All right. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about, since you are the captain of the IT pirate ship, we're going to talk about navigating the ITCs with marketing. And so obviously we're marketeers. I know you may not say you're a marketeer. I know you run the company, but I consider you a marketeer as well. You do a lot of very creative stuff, and a lot of time, often with burritos. But let's talk, I think from all of our perspective, what do we think is actually working in our space, the B2B tech space right now?
Yeah, so I think people can feel authenticity. I think it's you have to be. We are in a very crowded space. There's 2,000 VARs, although I hate that term, in the United States. They're all competing for the same business. Everybody wants to post white papers and success stories that are overly produced, overly formatted. Not everyone gets to be IBM. They're allowed to do that because that's their brand. But it doesn't have an authenticity for a small shop that's focused on, Fargo, North Dakota. If you're doing that stuff, you've lost the authenticity, right? That's probably not who you are. And if it is, you're not going to get noticed because it doesn't differentiate.
Yeah, I would agree. I think what, and Ann and I've talked about this a little bit before, is that you have to actually have content of whether it be written, video, whatever it is, that is actually, you want to have a conversation about it. It's not just the same thing everybody else says. You have to have an angle. You have to have an authentic position on something.
Yeah, and you also have to have the actual resources, the talent behind it to back it up. We've got a fantastic team of engineers on our team, and my sort of inside joke is shoot me out of a cannon, light me on fire, whatever you got to do to get people looking at the talented team that we have behind us. It doesn't work so hot. You're allowed to be irreverent and fun, but you got to be good first. So if you're good, you're allowed to get away with a lot. If you're bad and you're irreverent, everyone thinks you're an asshole. So that's our sort of internal line that keeps us honest about being, about doing good work for our customers.
I mean, I kind of need to stop here a little bit on this word being authentic. And
oh, you say stop on the word asshole.
Yeah, I thought it was a different word.
No, I want to call myself the queen of being authentic, as I'm fully real. I don't like bullshit, but I fucking hate it when people say that they're authentic, because it's not something you just say that you are. It's something that show you are. Yes. And that's I see that coming through with you, Matt, and your team and many other companies out there. But there are also those companies that I'm like, we're all about this. But I'm like, if you keep telling me that you are, then you're not.
Yes.
Let's just get that.
It feels forced and contrived.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They're I don't know. we had some marketing stuff that sort of started as little and turned into, things that were associated with, there's a real Volkswagen bus. We have squishy buses. We do at trade shows. It's fun. We'll fill it up with swag. I love them. My thing with the Volkswagen buses, I've never seen one drive by and not smiled. Right? They make me happy. The breakfast burritos. I was 10,000 breakfast burritos deep before I realized that if you put one on LinkedIn, you'd get 60,000 views. So it's but there's that for everybody, right? If you're I see folks that are into mountain biking, and they'll take pictures and they'll add some thoughts on work stuff with it, and I read those because they're interesting, right? Now, if it's and we're guilty too of trade show pictures and all that, and it's one of those things where you want people to know that you're participating in these events, but they're not fun. They're like, here's a picture of our booth, standing in the booth. It's fine, right? It shows that you're participating, but it's boring, and so yeah, it's hard, in finding your voice, and it can't be too much and it can't be too little, and you have to have the things that are common threads through your post to make it interesting, but you can't be redundant. You can't keep doing the same things over and over without some sort of change. So
how do you? I mean, I guess that the challenge with that is, how do you stay authentic in a world where we, whether using AI, whether you have a team of resources behind you, that's a lot of work, right? It takes a lot of time.
Yeah, I'll have conversations with people on my team in a day. I'm like, God, that's a good thought for everybody. Some sort of concept that I was talking with Nick Strader, who is on our federal side, and we're talking about alignment with one of our major manufacturers, and my line to him was, we want to get drafted by the Yankees. We want to play for the Yankees, right? We want to partner with this company, but if they don't, we'll play for the Pirates, right? But we had a moment there where I'm like, we're not going to be sidelined by if they don't want to partner with us on a project, we'll have to go figure out a way to solve our customers' problems with a different technology. Mm-hmm. But that moment where we're talking, like, God, that's a good thought to put out there, right? And then you mock up something on Canva, drop my head in a burrito in a bus onto something and talk about it. And it's interesting, but it's coming from real life. It is authentic. It's coming from real conversations, any given day. And everybody has a dozen of those a week, where it's, oh, that's interesting. Let's share something. So.
What do you think? I mean, not that I want to dog on anybody, but I think we sometimes don't call things out that are bad.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we hide from it, that like, oh, well, that's just the way it is in tech, or that's just the way it is in IT. And I mean, I feel like I see mistakes out there that other VARs, MSPs, like, I think that they're making. I mean, I think one of the biggest mistakes I've seen lately is the trying to push a bunch of stuff out there that isn't authentic, or try to, make them into something that they really aren't, except they don't have it behind the scenes. What have you guys seen? Like, have you seen other mistakes that people are making in our industry?
I don't know. Back to like you look at folks that want to pump out white papers and spec sheets and all that stuff. No, that's not. There's a role for that stuff. It's important for an RFP response or things like that on our side, but it has no place in marketing. It is boring. It is like nobody reads them. Like I see the metrics on LinkedIn, right? Like the engagement levels. And if you do here's the amount of clicks that Real Access will get you with this, and this, no one will read it. If it's too calculated feeling, right? It's boring. So it's I think people do that. I think it has to be interesting. I did a post the other day about marketing, and it was, you want people to eat the vegetables, but you got to cover them in ranch dressing so people eat them. It's got to taste good. Otherwise, like, I don't want carrots. If you got carrots next to ranch dip, I'm in.
Or some green chili.
Yeah, some green. Exactly. Eggs are dry, not with green chili.
All right, so let's jump into. We obviously are a marketing agency. We deal with a lot of different services, and I think what used to work doesn't necessarily work now. I think there is, to your point, there is a place for research papers. There's a place for white papers. I think, I guess, would you guys agree though? Content's not going away. We need content.
100%.
Okay.
But we need good content. So
yes.
With AI, like everyone can like spit out content at the speed of light today. And it's kind of bugging me like so much because a lot of it is just shit.
Yes. 1,000%. I'm gonna do my Maury Povich. 500%, 600% agree with you.
But we need it. Yes.
But I would say you can make, because I think you can make great content with AI. I just think
that's not the point. Yeah, you absolutely can. 100%. It's just like, because we have that tool, like everyone have access to that tool, you can push out so much in so little time. And I think that's, to me, I see the problem that it's just like people just do more and more and more and more. It's more like the quantity over the quality.
It's got the potential to feel like spam. When you get the email that was clearly not written for you, that wasn't thoughtful, that no human being is behind, AI's got that same vibe. When you see that email, you're like, this person wrote it with AI. It's like, I'm not going to read it. Like I'm not going to spend more time reading it than they spent writing it. Did they even check? Did they get to the third paragraph? I'm not going to, so I don't know. I've got mixed feelings. I like the in our business, we got to get face to face. You get in front of customers, you talk about projects, you get to do the projects, you win the projects. When you're the idea of trying to skip that with some AI content that you're blasting out to 400 people, and it doesn't work. It's got to be, you got to get to the one-on-one.
Yeah, but the flip side of that, you have to be known to be able to have the one-on-one.
Yes.
You got to get out there. You have to be in the consideration set. Use a fancy marketing term, right? Like you have to be out there and know, like, oh, OneTech, yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah. Now I'm gonna have a one-on-one, and that's where the magic obviously happens too.
The photo stuff's awesome. Like you can generate a funny image. The same way you could do, with cropping things in the past. I use it for that, and it's but you got to make sure it's something that will draw people in, right? AI still just like before, it still has to be an interesting, it can't be an AI generated image that's boring, just like it couldn't be a regular image that was boring before. It's got to be something that grabs your eye.
All right, let's do a lightning round on just go-to-market tactics. All right, LinkedIn, good, bad. Is it like, what's your view of LinkedIn? I kind of know what it is, I think, but like as a tool for good.
LinkedIn is where our customers and partners are. So we spend a lot of time there. If our customers all move to Instagram, we'd be on Instagram. But our customers are on LinkedIn, so we're on LinkedIn. Marketing rule numero uno, right? Go to where your customers are. Our partners and customers are on LinkedIn. We're on LinkedIn.
Are you Reddit, pro or con?
For marketing?
Yeah.
I've never done anything on Reddit. I'll get on there occasionally to for a little research to find out about, very niche topics, but that's the extent of my Reddit. What are your thoughts? Am I missing something?
I think Reddit we've done a lot of advertising on Reddit in the past. We don't do it as much anymore because I do think a lot of people are in our world anyway, I think are on LinkedIn. But I do think from a technical perspective, a lot of people, if you go out to, the subreddits of MSP, sysadmin, a couple of the other ones that we follow, they're always talking about the vendors. They're always talking about some partners. So I think it's a good place from what I would call marketing research perspective to see what's happening and what people, to your point, what they're actually saying. Because when you're trying to develop content for marketing, you want the real voices. And I think it gives us ideas of whether it be for content on newsletters, content on YouTube, maybe ideas for an event or, any of that stuff. I think it's a good sourcing ground to hear the scuttlebutt, because Reddit obviously is very unfiltered, where I think LinkedIn is a little bit more polite.
Yes. Yes. I feel like I'm on the wrong end of like inappropriate on LinkedIn, and it's very, and I'm, on account of my PG rating instead of G, so.
Okay.
I mean, Reddit could be in it. I think like down the road, like if we have more resources that can actually engage in communities, and not just by engaging by dropping like, here is realaccess.com, check them out, not that kind of engagement, but actually talk, like contribute to the conversations that are happening there. And the only link back is if someone actually go to your profile and look at it, kind of what's happening partly on LinkedIn. I think that can be huge later on, because there's such trust in the communities if you start contributing. But it's a long-term game, right? It's not just an ad.
Nick and I were talking the other day about the ether. There's marketing that has like a direct ROI that you can measure and all that. I don't think we ever do a very good job of capturing what the real ROI is on a marketing dollar. It's very hard, regardless of what you're doing. But then there's the ether. There's the stuff that you put out there that, maybe it's some positive stuff on Reddit. Maybe it's, customers, customer success sort of stories and things out there that, that are people are talking about you, right? There's a certain amount of, you just got to get people talking about you on the internet, in person, at events, et cetera. We did Inlet last week, and the feedback I got was there were people that came up because they wanted to talk to folks on our team that they liked. They wanted to talk about OneTech. There were folks that showed up because, hey, you're the burrito guys, all that. And it's all the ether, right? It's not, you can't measure it, you can't capture it, but when it's hitting, it's there,
I think it's a great way to put it. That, you have to, we joke about, the 95-5 rule, which is, the whole idea that you got to market to the only 5% of the people are buying at any given time. The other 95%, you can't ignore them.
Yeah.
You have to make sure you're talking to them, and that's out there in the ether. And so let's talk about events for a second. So, obviously, you and I, we've done events with you before. You do a lot of events. We're involved with other folks that do trade shows. Events, in my view, have tended to have come back since COVID, right? There's more and more activities, more and more people out there. Do you think events are going to continue, or do you think they're going to taper back off again and things are going to move into the digital realm?
I think people like getting out of the office. I do think if you do it right, don't do an event on a Monday afternoon, no one will show up. But come Thursday, if you've got good content and something fun, people will sneak out at, for lunch, to Thursday afternoon, slide into a Friday, halfway checked out, and then turn it into a long weekend. I think we're getting good turnout to events again. There was definitely a lot of online stuff during COVID. Obviously, we did a ton. Afterwards, there was a big jump where people wanted to get back out, and then we kind of watched it fall off. And I think it's normalized, where if you've got good content, if you've got the right audience, people will show up. And they like to. If it's a good event, we do stuff at like Breckenridge Brewery, and we get great attendance. People come out for it. It's a good venue. It's fun. Food's good. You get a network. I think we've kind of gotten back to the normal engagement on that kind of stuff from pre-COVID.
Yeah, people need a little kick in the butt because COVID made us a little too comfortable.
It made me so soft. Like,
I'm like, wait, I had to put normal clothes on.
Yeah. When you realize your sweatpants have been lying to you, and you got out of shape during COVID. The first time I had to put real pants back on, and I'm like, oh no, what have I done? Damn you, sweatpants.
I think it's coming back. Like at least those like casual happy hour styles. Like let's just chat. Nothing big, no freaking PowerPoint shebang, but just like casual.
Yeah. I think that's the key. Is it can't be. You don't want to be paneled or PowerPointed to death.
No.
God,
no. It's nice to go like enjoy, talk with people about things. Like to me, that's the real value. You can do the PowerPoints, and oftentimes, it's part of it. In order for us to get our manufacturers to sponsor something, there's a PowerPoint, right? Now we try to keep them brief, and then turn it into end user dialogue. Folks talking to each other. How are you using this? having smart people in the room from our side, from our manufacturers, helping them brainstorm things they could be doing better, differently, et cetera. So no, I think they're back.
You know what, Matt, next time you have that, if a manufacturer comes in and there's a sponsorship going on, can you just do like charades or something instead of a PowerPoint? Like,
I have to lie and say no, because we'll never, if I said yes, we're going to do charades, we'd never get to do another marketing event again. There's a nice little checkbox of, did you speak for 15 minutes to everyone? What's the balance? Those are kind of getting tighter too, where a lot of the major manufacturers are asking for, this wasn't just grab ass, was it? I was like, no,
not at all.
You didn't go to the Avalanche game and just watch, did you?
Right. I see.
All right. Well, we'll close out with a couple more tactics. So we talked about events. We've talked about LinkedIn, social media. There's obviously email, newsletters, things like that. I think our view, obviously, we're big proponents of the newsletters, of emails. We don't, a lot of people say that kind of content's dying or it's going away. I think our view is we don't agree, because I think fundamentally you have to communicate with people, and the one-on-one is key. But in order to get people to events, you have to send an email. You have to be featured in a newsletter. You have to promote. So I guess my view is that stuff's actually going to get bigger and it's just going to be broader. But what's your guys' take?
Well,
the Swedish fish.
I don't think email is going anywhere, but I think the way we email is changing, because it's just too overwhelming. Again, the AI stuff, like, yes, at some point, maybe you need to just get your brand out there, but I still believe in value over quantity, which is hard sometimes with email, but you just know the problem and who you're sending it to.
Yeah, you still got to make it interesting, which is always that's marketing's job, right? And when I talk about getting in front of customers, there's a delineation there. That's the difference between sales and marketing, right? Marketing stops when you've got the meeting and you're sitting with the customer. You're working on, from my perspective, it's marketing's done its job once they've gotten you to the table, right? That's the goal of marketing, is to get you there. Sales is to go architect, design, deliver, solve customer problems. So I think from a marketing perspective, email's not that. I read all my emails, or I see them, but again, if it's interesting, I don't read them all. But if I'm being honest, I got a 4th grade reading level, so it's impossible. But I'll read, I'll see if there's something interesting there, right? Like if there's something that grabs my attention, I will read it. If it's from someone, if I get an email from Nick, I'm going to read it. If it's something that I don't think is probably for me or valuable or whatever, you skip fast. So Nick's a speed reader, so he can read them all. But I got the short straw when it came to
Awesome. All right. Well, Matt, I think honestly, this has been great. I love talking about just marketing and IT in our channel with someone who is obviously as creative as you are. Let's close out with if we had to, each of us, we had to kill off. We had to walk the plank of the IT pirate ship, one marketing tactic, push it off the plank. What would it be?
I'm getting rid of spec sheets and white papers for marketing. They're not interesting. They have a role. It ain't marketing.
Off the plank.
Stop the plank. Go.
All right, Miss Fish.
I kind of want to crumble up the word lead magnet, which could be, you can put white papers in there, because that's, again, I'm like, what is the purpose of creating this piece of content? Like, don't think about it as a lead magnet. Like, if you're going to create content, create it to solve a problem. Let's just drop all of that.
If you figure out a lead magnet, I would like to know. That's I think that's probably a term that's applied to a lot of stuff it shouldn't be.
It's an oxymoron.
Yes.
All right, my one tactic that I'm going to push off the plank is having tables. This is a silly one, but a pet peeve. Tables in booths. Like, everybody, you go to a booth, and there's always the table, and there's always chairs, and there's always people sitting there lazily, when basic psychology says a table is a barrier to conversation, and sitting down So get rid of tables, get rid of chairs. If you're in a booth, stand up, or send somebody that can stand up for that long.
Dude, yours is a lot deeper psychologically than mine. Wow, you did the analysis, man. You did the homework. Oh man, I don't like white papers. Okay, cool, man.
Well, hey, I want it really to go off the plank. So.
Wow, man. I'm going to spend the rest of the evening thinking about that.
Matt will never, ever post a picture behind.
I'll never sit down to eat ever again after this.
All right, Matt, thank you so much. Call out to OneTech, great company, great people. Obviously, thank you for joining us today, and we will see you guys.
Shameless promoters. We got 3 logos in one screen here. Can't help it.
Way to go.
Thanks, Matt.
All right,
take care.
Thanks, guys.